What's up, everybody? It's your favorite shaman, Sexy Shaman, host of the Soul Lab podcast, where we provide you high vibrations to elevate your mind, your body, and your soul. Today, because we ain't got time to elevate tomorrow, what are we talking about today? We are talking about vibes. Catch the vibes at the Soul Lab. Yeah, everything is a vibe. Everybody's talking about vibes, right? High vibes. Keep your vibe high. Don't be around no low vibe people. But do you really know what you are saying when you are talking about vibrations? Let's get into it. Vibes are everywhere. Vibes are everything. If y'all remember from our chemistry class way back when we were in school, and maybe we were paying attention, maybe we weren't. I don't know about y'all, but I did fail chemistry, so no judgment. But we do remember that everything in this universe is in constant movement. So even though it looks physical, behind the scenes, there are atoms, mixing together to create different states of things. So everything is a vibe. Everything that exists in our universe, whether it's seen or unseen, consists of pure energy and light known as vibrations. This is the law of vibration, okay? So why are we talking about it? Well, our personal vibe fluctuates from being high to low, right? And that is based on our environment. That's based on who we are around, what we are around, okay? And the energy that is being sent through us, okay? So think about it. Have you ever been to like a sports game, football game, basketball game, soccer, whatever the case may be, and you can feel the energy of the crowd? It's a high vibe. Everybody's excited. Everybody's on a high vibe. And that actually creates this energy that the players can feed off of. They can feel that vibe, and that kind of propels them to win. I mean, we've seen studies in the past that the crowd has actually changed the game. When the team is down and they start scoring and the crowd gets all hype, and now they start riding on this high vibration that is created by the people watching the game. That's a vibe, okay? Same thing happens when you have this exciting news and you want to share it with somebody, but you pick the wrong person to share it with, right? So you're like, oh my gosh, I got this job I always wanted. And the first thing that they say is, oh, well, you're going to have to drive 20 more minutes. And it just like, boom, just deflates you, right? It's like, dang. But if you would have shared that with somebody who's actually on your vibe, they would boost you up. They'll be like, hell yeah, man. Like, you got this. And they're beefing you up because they're on your vibration, versus that first person that I talked to may have a lower vibe and they actually brought my vibe down. That's the same thing, when they say misery loves company. It's that low vibe, the energy vampires that are around us. And people who kind of have a perception of life that was negative and I always lose, and they have this pessimistic view of the world, that the world is all going to crap, kind of thing. When you are around someone like that and you have a high vibe, that person can literally bring your vibration down, okay? And when our vibe is low, that allows for everything else that is on that low vibration to come into our bodies. So sicknesses, illnesses, right? Worry, nervousness, anxiousness, all of these things are low vibes. And when we're on that low vibration, it's like us opening the door to that energy. When we are on a high vibration, we open the door to high vibe energy, optimism, manifestation, right? Positivity, abundance, all of these things are on the higher vibrational scale, okay? And so it's so important for us to understand the energy around us, because that affects the energy within us. As above, so below, right? So we have to be aware of what's going on around us at all times. You will notice that the people around you will truly affect you. If you're around a lot of negative people, you find yourself being overly negative. You know, the opposite is true as well. When we're around positive people that lift us up, we find ourselves spreading that positivity as well. We find ourselves lifting up other people because we're on a high vibe and we want to share that vibe. We want to express that vibe and expand that vibe. Because just like misery loves company, high vibes attract high vibes. And that's like all in this law of attraction as well. And we'll get into that in some later episodes for sure, because, I know everybody wants to talk about that. It's definitely the key to manifestation and getting what you want in this life kind of thing. So when you are feeling your best around someone in a situation, in an experience, you know that you're on a high vibe. And it's simple as this: how we feel is the information that we need to act. Okay. So it comes hand in hand when we think about the yin and the yang, right? We have to have the information to take an action. If we just act without being informed, right, we're flying blind kind of thing, right? And so our feelings are literally the transmitters of the information that we need to act. When you get a bad vibe from someone, that's most likely a low vibration that is coming into your body and telling you something about that person, about that situation, about that experience. This person doesn't make me feel good because they're lowering my vibration. And when my vibe goes down, I open myself up to the things that I don't like, to the anxiety that manifests into depression, and to the overthinking and being overcritical of myself. All of these energies are low vibrations, okay? And that's why it's so important for us to keep our vibe high. Because think about it. When you are on the ground, you can only see a certain view, right? And as you elevate, now you're able to see way more. You're able to see miles and miles and miles. Your vision is expanded. Your view is expanded. And that's exactly how vibes work. When we're in a low vibration, we can only see our problems. We can't see our blessings. We can't be grateful for the things that we have because we can only see this low vibrational stuff. And everything in our life starts being filtered through this view of low vibration. Versus when we elevate our vibe, right? We expand our view, we broaden our landscape. We're able to see beyond our problems. We're able to elevate beyond anything that is coming our way because we are up above. You dig? So, vibes really keep us safe. We get a vibe from somebody before they even open their mouth. We feel them. Okay. Just like if you had your back turned to the door, and someone stepped into the room, you would feel them in that room sooner rather than later, before they even say anything. Just like, people say, oh my gosh, I can feel that person watching me. That is a vibe, okay? An unseen vibration that is making you feel something, that is giving you information to take an action. Now, whether or not you listen to that information will determine how your life is going to go. Because a lot of times, we get these subtle vibes, right? We get these subtle feelings about everything that happens in our life. But because we might be in a low vibrational state, we might be feeling guilty about something. We might be worrying about something. We might be feeling like we're not good enough. And that feeling is so strong that we actually miss the vibes, the intuition that God is actually sending to us. Because the way God works is God speaks through us, through vibrations, through energy, right? It's not this logical, linear thing. And I think a lot of people who are non-believers are looking at God through the lens of logic, okay? Energy is not logical. It's not logical that this physical desk has molecules within it that are constantly moving and changing. All of that chemistry, right? That we may have failed in high school, but all of that is happening behind the scenes, but we don't see it, so we don't believe it, But we can feel the things that are happening around us. We have to start trusting those feelings. We have to start trusting those vibrations. You know what I'm saying? So the vibes keep us safe because God is telling us this is a safe situation. This is an unsafe situation. Get out of here, right? And we feel a feeling of fear of, oh, I don't feel safe. Oh, I feel nervous about this. I'm feeling some kind of anxiety associated with this person or the situation that I'm in. And that is information that God is telling me to take an action. Okay. And so this is a part of our life. Okay. There's a balance between the unseen and the seen, right? We are feeling something that is giving us information to act on. But the free will part is whether or not we want to take that action. Okay. We find ourselves in abusive relationships because we have missed the signs that this person was an abusive person. They may have been aggressive with us. They may have grabbed us. They may have sent us the information that we needed to make an action to get away from that person. But because we may be at a low vibrating state, right? We deprioritize ourselves and that information, that divine guidance that's coming from God, that's telling us what we need to do. We say, nah, it's not important. I really love them. Or it's okay. I can fix them. I can change them. And then we wake up and find ourselves in a situation that we can't get out of. And this is because we have ignored the signs that God has been sending us this whole time. Okay. So when we think about positive and negatively charged actions and feelings and thoughts, these are all a vibe, okay? And so when we think about positive things, that's love, that's compassion, that's understanding, that's empathy. That actually raises the vibe of the planet. The more we are compassionate with each other, the more we understand each other, the more we compromise, the more we express our unique identity, right, fully as ourselves, we are literally sending a positive vibe out into the universe that allows for other people to do the exact same thing. It raises the vibe of the planet. And the opposite is true. Acts that are negatively charged, hate, fear, intolerance, anger, all of these things produce the exact opposite, low vibrations. And what do? They lower the vibe of the world, okay? And when we find ourselves as a society in a chaotic time, it is because of the vibes that we as individuals are sending out, right? So is our collective vibration negative or is it positive? It depends on every single individual person. So it's like we all have a job to support each other in this world, even if we don't agree. Even if I don't understand you, I can learn to accept who you are. I can understand, I can open myself up and expand my mind, elevate my vibe enough so I can see you, understand all of you, where you're coming from, right? And then that expression is raising the vibe of the world, okay? When we separate ourselves and we chastise our differences and we try to control people and what they can and can't do, that literally lowers the vibe of the world, And if you listen to that last podcast about kind of the chokehold that America was in when we were in our infancy, it was that same vibe, right? We had to break through these low vibrations that were put upon us, So the world is really a projection of our collective inner worlds. We have a lot of sad people. We have a lot of people in fear. We have a lot of people dealing with anxiety and stress and being overworked and overthinking and being super depressed. And then we see that reflected in the world because our individual vibes are low. And so what are we putting out into the world? Low vibes. So as we as individuals raise our vibration, we are able to raise the vibe of the world. That is the free will. Are you willing to do the work internally for you? Because that is actually the gift that you can give to the world. The best gift that we can give for people is praying for them, right? Is thinking about them in positive light and holding them up in light. Even if they're mean to us, even if they treated us like crap, even if they've hurt us, we still meet them with love, with compassion, with understanding, with empathy, with forgiveness, right? And that vibration is sent out into the world so that those who need that energy can get that energy. If we are all negative, what are we going to hold on to lift us up, right? And we have people in this world that their job is just constantly sending high vibes. They are praying for every single person in their family, They are lifting them up energetically because that actually sends a bigger vibration out than doing something on the physical side. Yeah, of course, we can give you money. We can help you out on these material things. But if I want to raise your vibration or help you get to a point where you can move past your challenges, where you can elevate beyond your problems, I am going to collaborate with a divine energy that's around me to send up a huge vibration of positivity, of elevation. So, the great thing about vibrations is we have things around us that are constantly emitting a high vibe. And we call these elementals, okay, in the shaman world. So, elementals are really things around us that get their instruction from God, they get their vibe from spirit. So, they don't have any preconceived notions about who we are and what we do and what we are. They don't care. For example, the sun, right? The rivers, the ocean, the stars, all of these elementals are just producing, right? They are just helping us. It doesn't matter if you're a good person or a bad person, right? It doesn't matter if you're not empathetic and you're a low vibrating person. The sun still rises for you, right? And that is a demonstration of the elemental support that God has for us. God is always here for us. Even when we are down in the dumps, even when we cannot see beyond our own problems, God is still there for us because every single day the sun rises. That is the elemental high vibrational support that we can tap into to raise our vibes when we're in a low place, when we're feeling depressed and we're feeling down on ourselves and we have anxiety and I don't even want to be here anymore. And I'm just in this place of darkness. I can go outside into nature and feel the vibe of the plants and the trees and the animals and the sun and even the moon at night around me and ask God to lift my vibration, tap into that energy, to lift my vibe so I can see beyond my problems. It's more than just us and our own individual issues. You know, we really are a collective, okay? And that's why each one of us has a job to elevate, to send out high vibes, because we have the same people putting out low vibrations. So just like that microcosm I just told you about, that person that's praying for everybody in their family, there's another person doing the exact opposite, you know, being selfish, only thinking about themselves, being a tyrant, controlling people, making sure that the low class stays low and the high class stays high. That is a low vibration getting sent out into the world, lowering the vibe of everybody in the world. So how do we counteract that? We do that by tapping in to the high vibes that are around us. So elementals, right? Like I said, the plants, you know, the animals, you know, you notice like people love having dogs, right? Because they are a high vibe. They're just loving animals, right? They elevate our vibe because they love us unconditionally, just like God, you know? Even if you are having a bad day and you probably didn't treat your dog like you should have, the next day that dog is still running up to you, licking you all happy, shaking their little tail, and showing you that unconditional love, you know? And that's a great example of God's love, you know? We don't have to overthink this thing, guys. You know, I think people overthink the energy of God. We want to put it in the Bible and read every verse and try to relate those verses to everything. That's logical. That's our mind. God speaks through us with our heart. You don't even need to know how to read to understand God's love. You can feel it from the sun rising every day and lighting up our world. That is a beautiful demonstration of the unconditional love of God. And you see how the sun doesn't have conditions. The sun doesn't care that we're polluting the world right now. The sun doesn't care that you're cheating on your partner. The sun doesn't care that you're doing things that probably aren't the best for you and your growth, right? But the sun continues to rise, to heat up our world, to create vegetation, right? And allow for us to have food, and the rivers that flow around us help us have water and be hydrated and be nourished. That is God taking care of us for free. We actually didn't have to pay a dime for the sun to rise. We didn't have to pay a dime for these oceans, right, to flow and do the things that they do because they are taking their direction from a higher power, looking out for us, always telling us that I got you. No matter what happens in your life, I am here for you and I got you. You don't even have to believe in the energy around you. I'm still going to support you. I'm still going to lift you up because I want to show you how much I love you. That is real unconditional love. That is God's love. It does not matter who you are, what you do in your life. God still loves you unconditionally. This means that there are no conditions in this life that will not allow for the sun to rise. Simple as that. We don't need to look at any kind of book. We don't need to overanalyze God's love. It is simple as the sun rising every single day. That's a vibe. Now, a concept that's kind of interesting is when we think about vibes, and a lot of times we think about the things we can touch, the things we can feel, right? Things we can see. But even our words, our thoughts, and our feelings are all vibes. They all send out a vibe. So sometimes, we feel like, oh, well, just because I didn't say it, that means I'm still good. But the fact that you are thinking the negative thought is sending out a vibration into the world because thoughts are things, right? It's a vibe. Just like someone can say something to you, that word hurts you. They can call you out of your name. They can say something belittling to you, and it hurts you because that is a vibe, a low vibration, like an emotional dagger shot from a gun, right? Shoots you right in the heart, and you feel that. That's the same thing with words that we speak. That's the same thing with thoughts that we think. It's the same thing that feelings that we feel. If you are feeling negative about yourself, you have low self-esteem, that is how you're going to experience the world, okay? And you are going to send those emotional daggers out to yourself. And you will wonder, well, why I don't feel like I can go anywhere? And why don't I feel like I can get out of bed? And why don't I feel like I can, move forward? And every time I take a step forward, I feel like I'm going 10 steps back because we are the ones that are holding ourselves back, And of course, we have external situations that sometimes we are born into, right? That we have no control over, our nurture environment, right? We are predisposed to situations that are not best for us. And we have to overcome that with our inner strength, But the good news is that we actually have all of this support around us that is unseen, that we can tap into to help us elevate. And it's not money. It's not friends. It's not a relationship. It's not even family. It is the vibration of God's unconditional love that allows us to elevate from the inside out. As we work on the inside, the outside stuff just falls into place. If we focus on the outside, the inside's not getting fixed, and we find ourselves being pulled further and further away from our spirit, our soul, who we are, our truth. And we feel lost in this world, So the more we can actually look within and understand, how are we talking to ourselves? How do we feel about ourselves? Are we lowering our boundaries for people that should not be in our lives? Are we accepting low vibrations from people that aren't good for us? Remember I said feelings are information, okay? How we feel about ourselves gives us the information we need to act, okay? And sometimes it's difficult for us to really understand what's going on the inside, right? And that's the great part about being in this world and being connected to other people. We have friends, we have relationships, we have colleagues, right? We have family, and they are really our mirrors. They show us the stuff we need to work on. And sometimes we have super negative people that come into our lives to show us that we need to be more confident in ourselves. We have people that doubt us to show us that we have to be stronger in our truth and hold fast in our personal power, our personal truth. And the stronger we are in our personal power and our personal truth, no one can really knock us off our game. But when you are doubtful of yourself, all it takes is one person to say, You gonna wear that? And now you're doubting your whole outfit. You're like, well, I love the shoes, but did it really go with the shirt? Now, I mean, now I got to change my whole time, you actually loved the way that you looked. You was stepping out, flexing on them. You dig? But all it took was that one person to trigger the inner doubt that you had inside yourself. So when we're feeling stress, when we're feeling anxiety, this is energy that needs to be released. A lot of people that I counsel are actually super active people on the inside, and they don't realize that they have all of this pent up energy that needs to be released in a creative way. And that is what's causing them anxiety. They're so focused on their financial situation. They're so focused on work and their relationships and their friends and getting their family right and all of those things that they forget to take care of themselves. They forget to listen to the signs that God is sending them, the dreams that come into your life that are telling us things through metaphors, right? The deja vu that happens in our life and tells us, hey, you're on the right track, We forget that when we're so focused on the outside world, So this is why we have so many non-believers in this world, because they want God to show them on this logical, physical, material side of the world. And that is not how God works. God works through us, right? God works in mysterious ways. Everybody always says that. But do they truly believe what that means? If God is working in a mysterious way, is it going to be easily identified? Of course not. It's mysterious. Come on, y'all. So when we have unreleased energy inside us for a long period of time, right? It starts with anxiety. It starts with overthinking, and then it starts to make us sick. And then it will physically manifest into something in our life, like cancer, right? Like an illness, like an autoimmune disorder, If we can take it beat and start opening the door to our feelings and our emotions, start journaling, start taking voice journals, start talking to yourself, talking to your friends, having a deep, intimate relationship, even if it is with yourself, that will open the door to elevation and high vibrations. That will heal you from the situation that you're in. So it's kind of interesting, I actually experienced this myself. I am a musician as well. And, I found myself just getting so frustrated, why am I not famous and blah, blah, blah. And I'm judging myself by this standard that's not even real, And I was down on myself, I was judging myself and I started to doubt my abilities. Well, are you really that good of a musician? Are you really like who you think you are kind of vibe, Because I was so focused on how I was falling down and where I was coming up short, that actually overtook me so much that I wasn't making music, And so because I didn't have this creative expression that was a release of the energy that was inside me, that energy started to turn on me, right? I started doubting myself. I started really thinking about myself in a way that wasn't really conducive to my growth and who I am and my truth, And then I started to go down this path of darkness that started to bleed into the other parts of my life, because it's not just anxiety that affects one situation. When we have anxiety, it's like injecting something into your body. You don't get to choose where that thing goes. It just follows your bloodstream and goes through your entire body. So that's really like anxiety, right? Once it comes into your life, it starts spewing into all of these other parts of your life. When I was allowing myself to talk to myself in negative ways, that was keeping me down in the dumps with a low vibration. I was believing all of these things that these negative, low vibrating people were telling me that weren't true, And so I had so much resentment inside, I was holding on to this anger and this resentment. And what I didn't understand is that resentment was actually holding me back in so many ways in my life. That low vibration, right? Resentment, guilt, anger, those things hold us back from elevation and growth, And just like when you are filling up a grocery bag with a bunch of groceries, Once you get that bag full, there's no room for anything else, good or bad, you know? So if I fill a grocery bag up with a bunch of trash, and then I go to the grocery store and I try to buy groceries and use that same bag, there's going to be no room for the goodness going into that bag. And that's really how blessings work and abundance works and manifestation works. When we are filled with resentment and anger and holding on to past things that happened to us, we actually block the blessings that are going to come into our lives because there's actually no room. We're at capacity and we're actually filled with negativity. We have to let go of resentment and we have to forgive people, not for them, but for us. In order for us to be blessed in our life, we have to forgive people, even if we know they're not going to change. Even if we know that they have to elevate to get on our level, and that's okay. But I'm not going to hold on to pain and resentment and hatred and anger because it's actually holding me back from the blessings that are on the horizon, waiting for me to empty that trash out of that grocery bag to get that good food in there. All of these things are self-inflicted. Guilt, resentment, not forgiving people. They are low vibrations that we actually have control of. We have to love people despite themselves, despite what they do to us, despite how they talk to us and how they treat us. We still love them anyway. And when we are filled with love, which is an act that is super, super positively charged, it literally will boost you up from a dark place to a place of light, to a place of abundance, to a place of gratitude and appreciation and joy. And you'll find yourself spreading that love all over the place because that's how high vibes work. And so the more we hold on to pain and resentment, right? And understand, I completely understand that negative things happen in our lives. People are hurt. Hurt people, you know? And many of us were born into families of emotionally immature parents, of unhealed parents that have been through their own trauma and they've just buried it. They created these blockers between them and themselves, right? And those blockers actually create blinders so they cannot see past their pain, their own trauma, their own resentment, their own hatred, their own lack of understanding. And that's a low vibration, you know. And so if we do not let go of this kind of energy, it creates a block within us, right? Not only does it block our blessings, but it can literally manifest into physical ailments, nervousness, tension. Then that tension can manifest into something physical in our bodies that we need to actually release. And it all could have been stemming from trauma that happened in our past that we haven't let go of yet. This trauma could be years and years and years old, but we've been feeding it with negativity, you know. Maybe we grew up in an abusive household that told us that we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not smart enough, you'll never be anything, right? And now that energy is embedded in us along with fear and resentment and anger, right? All that traumatic energy is embedded in us, right? And now we start responding to our external world from that place, from a place of hurt, you know, from a place of pain. We don't trust people when we see them. We don't open up to them because we're afraid that they're going to hurt us like our parents did or like our partners did, you know. And so it creates this blockage between you and yourself, and you find yourself lost in life. You find yourself disconnected and wondering, well, why can't I get ahead? Well, I have to look within and start clearing out my closet. And I'll realize that, wow, I have a bunch of grocery bags in here with trash in it. So when vibes speak to us, we shouldn't doubt them. If you get a bad feeling about somebody, it's God telling you that this person is not for you. A lot of us know exactly when we meet somebody within the first 30 seconds, we know if this person's going to be a friend or a foe, you know, and it comes through a vibe. And again, whether or not you trust that vibe will determine how your life goes. Are you going to accelerate your karma by trusting the vibes and the unseen things that happen around us, our intuition, the signposts, right? The metaphoric signs and signals that come into our lives? Or do we need everything to be so logical and in print and to tell us exactly what we need to do? If it is the latter, we are not going to move forward. We're not going to elevate. We're not going to expand and broaden our horizons because we're asking God to be a human. We're asking God to not be this all knowing energy that's around us and supporting us at all times. We're asking God, hey, God, can you take this pen real quick and just write down, what I need to do for the rest of my life? Like, that's what we want to ask God to do. And if it was that simple, we wouldn't be here, y'all. We wouldn't be here. Our life is about experiencing things fully. So when we think about vibes, everybody's been talking about manifestation, right? Getting this financial, tangible thing that I can touch and I can feel, and that's going to make me feel better on the inside, right? But really, manifestation is aligning to the vibe around us. Manifestation is claiming what you don't have yet so it can come into your life. Being thankful for your perfect health, even if it's not perfect. Because when I'm thankful for my perfect health, I'm sending that vibe out to say, hey, God, bless me with that perfect health. Send that vibe back to me. When I am compassionate to others, empathetic to others, I'm understanding, I'm patient, right? I am helpful. I'm nice. I'm friendly to people. That vibe is going to be sent right back to me. That's really manifestation. We spend so much energy on the things we don't have and feeling less than and comparing ourselves. But if we are thankful for the things we have in our life and the things we don't have yet, that is a vibe that we can send out into the world to let God know, hey, here's what I want in my life. Here is the path that I want to go on. I am thankful because I know that I'm moving toward my goals. I'm elevating to the person that I'm supposed to be. Vibrations speak the truth. There's no doubt in the vibes. Whereas when we are logical and we listen to what people are trying to tell us or convince us, or what the media or society is trying to tell us, or people who don't have our best interests at heart, or that are trying to get money from us, or whatever the case may be, when we listen to that, that's where the doubt comes in. So the more we can work on trusting our intuition, feeling our feelings, writing the things down that we feel, right? That is the vibe. I want to leave you with this. We vote for our reality with our imagination. And in order to get the things we want in our life and be comfortable and have that love that sets our soul on fire and to be in a situation of wholeness and happiness, we have to vote for that with our imagination. We have to imagine the best case scenario and put our energy there instead of imagining the worst case scenario where we fail and it reminds us of all the things that we hate about ourselves and doubt about ourselves. When we are going to go to an interview, we're going to imagine ourselves killing it at that interview. We're going to imagine ourselves getting the job because that's the reality I want to vote for. I'm not going to imagine the negativity. I'm not going to bring that energy into my life because that's you telling God, hey, I need you to work over here instead of on the positive side. Because we can easily bring positivity in our life, just like we can easily bring negativity into our life by what we vote for with our imagination. A lot of times, anxiety and fear and all of these things are derived from situations that aren't even real. We think in our head, well, I can't say anything because if I say something, then they're going to react like this. And then this is going to happen. This is going to happen. And now we have all of this anxiety from a situation that hasn't even happened yet. And it knocks us so far back that we don't even act on what we were going to do in the first place. So think about what you are voting for. Our minds are powerful, y'all. Our minds can make us sick. Our minds can kill us. And because we know that, we should be using our minds for our benefit. We are super powerful people. I try to remind people and remind myself when I'm speaking negatively, that is the vibe I'm sending out into the world. And is that the reality I'm voting for? We are in a challenging situation in this world right now, but I'm going to imagine the world that I do want. I'm going to imagine a situation that I do want instead of feeding all the negativity that's already around us. We have enough negativity in this world. We don't actually need to help that. Where we need help is on the positive side. High vibes. When we send out high vibes, we get high vibes back. You vote for your reality with your imagination. When we are worrying about things that haven't happened yet, when we are stressed about situations that aren't real, we are lowering our vibration and we are pushing ourselves away from the actions that we need to take to elevate us to the highest, brightest version of us. So when you're thinking about the changes you need to make in your life, think about the things you want to let go of. Write them down on a piece of paper, and you can crumble that piece of paper up. You can burn that piece of paper up, whatever you want to do to discard it, right? And you're going to literally physically throw that away. And you're going to say, this energy no longer serves me. I no longer want to doubt my abilities. I no longer want to be angry at these people. I no longer want to resent them for what they did to me. And now I'm going to write down what I do want. I want to replace the doubts and the fears that I have about my abilities with confidence and positivity. And when an opportunity presents itself, I'm going to go after it with all of my being because I know that God has a plan for me. And I have to do my part. God got us. The sun's going to shine every single day to light up our world. What are you going to do to meet that energy? How are you going to make the change? Be the change you want to see in the world, like our homeboy Gandhi said. What are you doing in your life to elevate your vibe? Are you resenting what happened to you? Are you hating people? Are you hating the people that are successful, more successful than you? What reality are you voting for? I hope you're voting for the one where we all win, where we all are uplifted, because every time we send those high vibes in the world, it drops down on somebody who really needs it, somebody who really has been praying for a miracle. Boom, and now I'm sending this vibe out, and then whoever's been praying for that miracle, they're going to get it, because that's how we help each other. We clear the space on the inside for the external stuff to fall right into place. God actually takes people out of our lives, removes those boundaries away. If we ask, we have to ask to be shown the way. Show me the next steps in my life. Show me if this person is right for me. If I had to write my own story, I definitely wouldn't have wrote it like how it went. But I am so blessed that I am where I am today because of it. And that's how I have to see my life. I went through all of that negativity so that I could relate to other people that are in that same situation and lift them up and let them know it's okay to be you. Even when people tell you that you're not allowed to love who you love or be who you are and that you don't exist, you're still going to be you, because in you doing that, it sends out a vibration for everyone else to do the same, And that is the beauty of our existence. That is the beauty of us sharing the vibe, passing the Dutch, you dig? Happy vibes.
Leave your expectations at the door and your mind clear, and we can ride.
Don't forget to check us out at thesoullab.com, and you can get a free soul session with yours truly, the Sexy Shaman. Thanks for listening.